Hello, it's me, Kyoke. This is my first Dancing Mad Ultimate clear. This is not Party Finder strats. This is also not good summoner gameplay. So, if you're looking to gain info out of this video, I've got some bad news for you. So, this was the compensation clear I got from the race team Banana Codex that I was a 9th for during the race. How it works is, during the race, I stay up 16 plus hours a day helping the team however I can to gain placements in the race to world first. And in compensation afterwards, the team clears me afterward. I decided to get my clear on Summoner because it's the easiest job and it has the least responsibility out of all the roles. Even P ranges do more in this fight than caster, so I wanted to make it as quick as possible, so I just chose the easiest job for my speedprog clear. Since this is a speedprog, I basically spent no actual time learning Opti in this fight for Summoner, but there's a few takeaways that I would like to point out in case you are looking to prog on Summoner. One is to always roll your Bahamut or Phoenix or whatever as soon as possible. The only exception is at the start of P5, you want to delay it by a bit to align it with your raid buffs. Other than that, you want to always roll Bahamut as soon as you can. Unfortunately, there will be about a 1 GC delay that happens at the start of P3 due to cutscenes, but it's not the end of the world. It just delays your Bahamut 1 GCD out of raid buffs, which has a little room for Opti, but not a big deal either way. Another thing I want to point out is these are the raid buff and pot timings that Banana Codex uses, and I highly recommend it because I think that this is the maximum damage that you can output with your pots and raid buffs in general, and probably for every group as well. So you want to pot the first GC at P2, which brings your pot up in time for the cleave 2-minute burst during phase 3. At the end of phase 3, you want to hold the bosses as long as you possibly can. We generally aim to kill Chaos as soon as the raid buffs come back up. So around 12 minutes. And then we hold on the X-Death and Rage cast bar until it's roughly around halfway through. If you have a summoner in your group, which you probably do if you're watching this video, I highly recommend holding your damage at the end of the P3 to extend the Enrage sequence until you at least get your Bahamut back. After your Bahamut comes out, that's pretty much all that matters, because entering P4, hopefully you saved your Searing Flash, your Akmorn, your Giga Akmorn, and 2 energy drains, and you can do some crazy amount of damage in the 5 seconds of raid buffs that you have at the start of P4. Like, Summoner does a disgusting amount of damage in those 2 or 3 GCDs at the start of P4, as long as you remember to carry over as much as you can from your Bahamut summon. So if you do these timings, you also get a 2-minute pot window at the end of P4, which you won't get if you do raid buffs at the start of P4. So that's why I generally recommend doing the end of P3 hold buffs, since you do get that cleave pot and a P4 burst pot. And you do need to early pot in P4 a little bit, which can be a bit tricky if you want to be up in time for the P5 and Rage burst pot, which is also very important. But all things considered, yeah, these are the timings I recommend for any raid group, especially for summoners. One other thing I'll say is that the DPS checks of this fight are not super tight. I mean, Summoner already has almost no casts. They have 4 casts a minute, right? 2 Ifrits, 1 Slipstream, and then I guess a Fill or Ruin. And you can Swift cast one of them as well. So you have basically 3 casts a minute. That being said, I still take a lot of downtime GCDs because I am prioritizing doing mechanics over maintaining perfect rotation accuracy. Summoner has the privilege of not getting totally screwed if you drift or you don't get all your Legos out. Like if you miss an Ifrit cast, whatever, your Bahamut's not gonna get delayed, just skip it and you'll be fine. It's a minor potency loss, yeah, but it's not worth greeting these long casts if it potentially even has a chance of causing a wipe. I'll just say that it's a much higher chance you wipe because of greeting casts and dying to mechanics than it is that you enrage because you skipped one Ifrit cast. That being said, I did have a P5 enrage that was basically a one Ifrit cast diff, so I mean, damage still matters at the end of the day. Yeah, I had a 0.1% clean enrage during my summoner clear attempts, whatever. If I was greeting casts, I would have probably wiped the pool anyways, so we wouldn't even have seen enrage. One other thing I want to mention for summoner is that be very, very careful about Ifrit dashing during the P5 enrage sequence. Because there is a giant black hole in the middle of the arena that will kill you if you so much as stick a foot into it. And you might say that Ifrit dashing is safe there. I thought that too, but the thing is the boss can move during that whole sequence. That means the boss is not centered, or if the boss is away from you, you might find yourself Ifrit dashing into the center black hole and dying for it. And that would be disastrous because you're basically dead for the entire 30 seconds to a minute of that final 2 minutes where you can do a ton of damage to the boss. So just be very careful about using your Ifrit dashes in the P5 enrage sequence. If you're even worried a little bit, then just skip the dashes. It's not worth it. But hopefully, if you do want to send your dashes, just double check with the boss's hit ring and don't get it confused with the purple black hole of death. Because I naively thought that the boss would always be safe to Ifrit dash there until I remembered that, yeah, the boss can move in that phase actually. So it's not always going to be safe depending on how your tank is dragging the boss. Alright, enough summoner yapping. It's not really that complicated of a job. Like sometimes you do Ifrit before Titan because of casts, but things work out generally anyways, so not a big deal. I will say in this clear, for 40 seconds in P3 I was targeting the wrong boss, including during a 2-minute window. So that's a minor rotational mistake, I guess. You know, doing 0 damage for 40 seconds. It doesn't matter, the checks are not that tight. We still pretty comfortably cleared P3 anyways, even with me completely sending my damage on the wrong boss. Oops. Yeah, that's not great. I am fake melee in this clear. I'm supposed to be hitting chaos for P3 firewalls, but you know, sometimes you accidentally tab target to X death, and when you're doing mechanics you don't always realize. My bad, doesn't matter, clear's a clear. Did I get carried? Yeah, a bit, but you know, that's the perks of having the world 3rd race team Banana Codex helping you out. So, on to talking about analyst work a bit, aka being a 9th man. It is not for everyone. Although, for some people, I think they are not considering the benefits that it can give you, since it is actually kind of nice. Because how it works, yeah, you do a ton of hours during the race week, you're basically alarm clocking with the race team, right? And you're basically just on the sidelines. You don't actually get to play the game, you're in the background. Although that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because it's chill there, I'm not gonna lie, it's kinda chill. There's no pressure to be performing for 16 hours a day. You're just doing your own role, unless you're a call-out 9th man. And those guys have it hard. That's pretty much, in my opinion, the hardest job that anyone can have in this game. Being a call-out analyst for and for a race team in an ultimate race. It is so difficult doing perfect callouts for 16 hours straight for upwards of a week. Yeah. You're able to have that kind of consistency, then any race team would gladly have you, since it is such a difficult position. And you are able to probably negotiate a really fast clear as well because of how valuable you are to any race team. So even if you don't have a ton of hardcore race experience, you feel confident that you can be a consistent call-out 9th man, then you can still find yourself getting a relatively quick clear from the group afterwards. If you don't want to be a call-out analyst and you want to do other kind of analyst work, either like strat development or scouting or whatever, in general, you kind of need a bit of hardcore rating experience. Not super hardcore, you don't need world race experience necessarily, but you do need a pretty good understanding of the game and how to play it at a high level. Like if you have week 1 Savage clears, that is pretty good already. It is chill, yeah. I will say it is nice. It's a lot of time at the start where you have to, you know, spend a lot of time during race week essentially not being able to play the game. Like if you struggle with FOMO, like seeing all your friends prog and you feel like you're gonna miss out, and you probably don't want to be an analyst. If you're just chilling, you want to clear afterward, that's relatively painless. Like you don't want to go through 100 hours of prog and 1,000 pulls with a static. This is really nice. Like I cleared from Fresh Summoner in about 5 hours of prog. Maybe like 20 or 30 pulls. It was relatively painless. And I still cleared week 3, which is relatively fast as well. Like I'm beating a lot of people that are in rather hardcore groups. People doing 5-10 hour days, and I still cleared before them with a pretty chill experience. So it is a pretty good trade-off, particularly for ultimate races, where you get to skip a lot of prog to show your work as an analyst. So yeah, anyways, right here, this is the end of P3 raid buffs that I was talking about earlier. You send your raid buffs as soon as they're up, and then you kill Chaos, and you hold for a bit, and then you kill X-Death like halfway in his cast bar, and you get about 5 seconds of raid buffs at the start of P4, and you dump everything you have on Summoner and you do 1 billion damage. I pot early in P4, which is not optimal, but I'm not really comfortable with the timing of the exact pot window at the end, so I was just, you know, using it now is better than using it never. And I did one it up for P5. Anyways, at the end of P4, regardless of if you're doing start of P4 buffs or end of P3 buffs, just send all your big cooldowns at the end of P4 immediately, because you have maybe 3 seconds before the boss enrages. P4's enrage is like 203 or something, so you wanna make sure you send everything ASAP. Whenever you summon the Bahamut and you get your 3 big hits, rush those out, clip your GCDs, it's worth it. Yeah, anyways, back to talking about being a 9th. It is kind of unglamorous work. Like even if you're an analyst for a top race team, world 1st, world 2nd, world 3rd, you're not actually a player at the end of the day. Like I don't feel right claiming that I was the world 3rd Dancing Mad Ultimate kill, right? I wasn't actually one of the players playing. But I do feel comfortable saying that I was part of the team that was the world 3rd Dancing Mad kill, because implications, I guess. So it's cool having that on my resume, even though it's not as glamorous as actually being the world 3rd killer of Dancing Mad. Like I don't have the achievement log that I was world 3rd. I just get the satisfaction of knowing that I was there to support the world 3rd team. And there's some brand recognition that people know about my race team, and they're like, oh, you were part of Banana Codex? That's really cool. I know Banana Codex because they ruined PF strats in M12 or something. Yada yada. You don't know how many times I've heard that, by the way. But I think it's funny either way. Like, we didn't try to push the strats. I guess everyone else just adopted it because Hector had that mini series out. I still think it's the best Rep 2 strat, by the way. Yeah, it's not glamorous work. You're okay with not progging for the first week of an ultimate, but you value a quick and painless clear, and maybe being an analyst is a path that you can take for future ultimates, you know? Like, straight up, 10 out of 10, would recommend this experience. And it's cool that I did get to be involved with a top race team as with Banana Codex. Because I've been with them for over half of Dawntroll at this point. I was an analyst with them for Cruiserweight and Heavyweight, and they did compensate me week 1 clears as well for that. And I guess building that rapport with them, being a trusted member of the group at this point, allowed me to have a week 3 Dancing Mad clear. Really satisfied with that, you know? Especially with how difficult this ultimate is. Like, I killed Fru in week 3, and Fru was significantly easier of a fight than Dancing Mad, so having the same clear time because of this analyst work is nice. Something that, you know, I kind of recommend at least considering if you do value clears and you think you can bring your skill and experience to a race team. If you don't think that you're super valuable, like you don't have that in-depth experience, then you might have to like negotiate your compensation. Maybe you won't get a clear in return, maybe you can get something else. I don't know. There's no set standards of what to give analysts for their work in a race. Something that I negotiated ahead of time, and at the end of it, everyone came out of the exchange happy. I probably gave Banana Codex a couple of placements in the world race. In return, I'm happy that I got a Kefka clear. Anyways, that's my thought on analyst work. Hopefully this gameplay was just background noise because it is not very good gameplay. Let me just say that for the 5th time. I know I did not play great, especially during phase 3 where I was hitting the wrong boss. But you know, clear's a clear. I did the mechanics. I did okay damage as well. Top damage in P5. Summoner actually low-key kind of good in this fight. And yeah, if you're progging Kefka, I wish you the best of luck. I am progging Kefka with my friend group as a scholar, so if you're interested in healer POVs of my usual commentary tip style healer clears, stay tuned for that. First one out will probably be Scholar, and then if I have time I will alt job on White Mage and Astro. Don't know how to touch Sage, I don't really enjoy it that much, but I guess we will see. Anyways, good luck, I'll see you around, and make sure to pet your Umas.
He's Giga done. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's go!
Wait, this looks no. Wait, what the fuck?
That is kind of sick.
Oh yeah, we didn't see this. Yeah, clear it all.
Good shit. Bro, I know.
There's something about that in race sequence, it freaks me the fuck out as a healer, man.
I'm not gonna lie. Good job,
Very
you guys.
cinematic.
I fucked up. I fucked up one of my addles. I was missing on like the red wire.
Dude, the music in the Enrage is so hype. It's I love
Bro,
that. Like
you
listening
know
to the.
お疲れ様でした